It's never a bad idea to start off with a quote from H.L. Mencken. Misogynist, a man who hates women as much as women hate one another. There are a few women in each generation that have that creative spark in them. These are the sorts of women that make up my viewership, the 15% that are female. I have a friend who is one such woman. Video game developer. And if you guys have been following the news with video games, there are more and more of these Janie-come-latelys to the field. They weren't playing video games in the 90s, they weren't designing video games back in the aughts, but all of a sudden, now that Comic-Con is mainstream, now that we're making Marvel superhero movies, all of a sudden they've discovered their inner geek, and they're now demanding that these male spaces conform to their rules. This friend of mine, she despises them. So they give all women a bad name, and now male developers are walking on eggshells around her. She hasn't completely come out as an anti-feminist yet, she's waiting until the time is right. But these women that actually have the creative spark are just as misogynistic as I am, if that's what I actually am. You see, in my last video, there were a bunch of people questioning what I was saying about women, worrying about my attitude about women. The white knight is strong in them. So let me make a video specifically addressing this topic. Modern women are completely out of control. They have gone completely feral, and their behavior is completely unacceptable in a civilized society. This is not personal anecdote. This is not based upon broken heart or bitterness. It's not that I don't know how to approach women or talk to them. And it's not just a hypothesis either. This is fact. The more experience you have, the more you see it. This is an absolute factor in our modern degeneration, that women have turned into the most selfish, solipsistic, vain, and cruel creatures the planet has ever seen. Aaron Clary tried to write about this recently. He was saying about how he and his friend, they were at an open street festival with music playing, and they approached several different groups of women, asking them to dance. And the majority of these groups rebuffed them in the most impolite, uncivil manner possible. One of them threatened violence on him, as if these women were the cream of the crop, as if they were these amazing little princesses that deserved a knight in shining armor to come approach them, a movie star, Brad Pitt. And in the comments section, people started criticizing Aaron's game, asking him, how is he dressed? Did he nag them enough? Did he, etc., etc. He addressed this in his latest podcast, and I'm going to pretty much say the exact same thing as he said. This isn't about my skill at approaching. You know, I might not be Roosh. I'm not claiming I'm the next incarnation of Royce. But I've been in the game a long time. I know how to meet women. I know how to go on dates. I know how to pick them up. And the fact they're being this rude does not reflect upon me. It reflects upon them. The fact this is so generalized, that this bad behavior is everywhere with these modern women. They're little attention whores. They expect to get meals paid for by guys taking them out on dates. They get all these messages on OkCupid, and they respond with the worst attitude that you can imagine. And then the funny part is, they go for the absolute scum. As a joke, a few days after that he wrote this post, he and his friend were walking along, Aaron Clary that is, and he said, hey, you know what, let's try ex-con game, because he was wearing a suit, his friend was dressed down. So they approached a couple of girls and said that he was a lawyer that just got his friend out of prison. And the girls liked it. The girls were actually more receptive to the ex-con than the ballroom, or what is it, salsa dancer, published author, economist, so on and so forth. Likewise, I might not be Brad Pitt, but I'm a published author. I'm a pretty damn good writer. I am an ex-military member, and I'm a relatively solvent member of society. And yet, trying to meet women, trying to talk to them, they have the bitchiest, the most foul attitude in the world. What have they done? Got a job through HR where they basically accomplish nothing, spend all their time posting pictures on Facebook with their smartphones, getting tons of attention, and going out and blowing all their money on purses and dinner dates with their friends. And then, going to the club and getting some degenerate drug dealer to buy them bottles of Cristal. This is not a small group of women. This is not a minority. Oh, I'm approaching the wrong women. No. This is the majority of women nowadays. They are entitled, they are rude, they like complaining, and they like invading male spaces. As at a bachelor party recently, Stag and Doe, which, good lord, Doe parties are an abomination unto the Lord. Men have bachelor parties, women have baby showers. Deal with it. And around midnight, the Does decided to invade the Stag. And as soon as they invaded the Stag, they complained that the husband-to-be, he was drunk. Oh my god, he was really drunk at his bachelor party. And, we can't have these conversations anymore because the women are getting offended by these conversations. And, they couldn't stay at their own party because they get too damn bored. The majority of these modern women have nothing going on. Their brain tubes start fizzling out if they don't have a man paying attention to them. So they interrupt every single male space. And you know what? Women are people with moral obligations on them. I know that you young guys out there are asking, what am I doing wrong? How do I self-improve? Why did she dump me? And yes, these are good questions. You can't control the world, you can only control yourself. And nobody in this part of the sphere is blaming women for naturally wanting dominant, strong men. That's what women want. They want to have good babies with a good protector. That's natural, that's healthy. And certainly, all you men out there, improve yourself, work out, read books, make money. All that stuff is wonderful. Nobody's saying that they should be falling in love with the World of Warcraft playing nerd. However, right now women are demanding the absolute apex alpha. They think they are hot shit when they bring nothing to the table but their bad attitudes, their constant complaints, and their constant demands. And these young men are blaming themselves when it's not you. It's not you young men that are crazy. It's the world that's crazy. Recently, I was exchanging emails with an older gentleman, 51 years old, and I'd like to read you an excerpt from that email. Discussing young men that come to him asking for advice. I have come to dread these conversations. These young men, say 20 to 35, are some of the cream of their generation. Smart, talented, honest, and loyal. They are, without exception, treated like disposable rubbish by the young women they fondly imagine they are having relationships with. I literally have not seen a relationship in years that I would want for myself. When the young women inevitably become bored with the relationship, or imagine, usually an error I might add, that she can do better, the man in the relationship is jettisoned like a bag of smelly rubbish as she triumphantly moves on with her life. Moving on seems to mostly involve long conversations about private matters between the parties, in public and on Facebook, and recitals about the man's grievous faults and outright lies about him to anyone who will listen, followed by an asset stripping if possible. This, over the last few years, has led to several suicide attempts, and several suicides, and any amount of reckless drug use, driving, and heavy drinking, often combined at the same time with tragic results. This world is custom built right now to make women feel special about themselves, to put all those boys in school on Ritalin, and to blame every single failure, every single motherhood, every single dating the bad boy as patriarchy. It's never the woman's fault. She never has to take responsibility. She gets to slut about with the jerks and the creatures, and not alpha males, not even close. The omega degenerate sneaky male, the criminal male, or the Muslim terrorists. They're out marrying these guys and ignoring the decent, intelligent, accomplished, masculine males. We're not crying for the betas or the loser males that never even tried. We're talking about men that deserved a relationship and are treated like trash by these women. This is not my opinion. This is not Aaron Clary's opinion. This is not this older gentleman's opinion. This is an absolute fact. Rooch writes about it. Roisi writes about it. These men have game, and they see what's going on. Sex is about more than just having fun. Sex is how you build the next generation of the future. Women, not just for men's sake. Men want virgins. Yeah. But that alone does not obligate a woman to treat her genitals as precious. Yeah, in theory, she can go and be a slut with whomever she wants. Except who she's hurting isn't just the men, she's also hurting the next generation coming up. When she wastes her 20s being a little drug-addicted fool sleeping with all the bad boys, she is harming the next generation. And in some cases, she's being downright traitorous to her country and her people. This is a quote from the Occidental Observer, talking about how this Muslim invasion that's happening in Europe is driving the women away from the men. That the women are all pursuing the Muslim men, and of course white men get attacked and beat up if they date any of the Muslim women. One man says, "There's one thing that annoys the hell out of me. They can start chasing Norwegian girls, but we cannot go after theirs. It's something you learn early on. You just don't go after a Pakistani girl, but Norwegian girls are available to immigrant boys. Norwegian girls prefer them. I don't know why. I guess it must be that brown skin. That they are tough. That they have money despite not having jobs. They don't see that they fight in packs and that they are cowards." I asked my best female friend if we could get romantically involved, and she told me that I have the right personality, but the problem was that I'm Norwegian. She wants to become involved with a foreigner. We are not talking about foreign alpha males outcompeting domestic beta males. That would be a valid conversation. If North American and European men really want to cut off their own balls, then you can't blame the women for going after some manly men. These are not manly men. They fight in packs. They don't get jobs, they mooch off of welfare. They are violent to the point of insanity. They're ex-cons, and these are the ones the women go for. They are traitors, not just to their country, but to their children. Having children with a lowlife like that is absolutely despicable. This is not my anecdotal experience. This is not my own lack of game. This is an extremely widespread trend, and it's getting worse. This is not excusable behavior. This is not women demanding more out of men. It's women demanding irrational expectations out of men. So, if calling women that behave horribly horrible people is misogynist, then I guess myself, all the men that see what's going on, and the women in my subscribership and who read the Red Pill blogs, who also see what's going on, I guess we're all misogynists. Marini out, folks.